Good morning, boys and girls. Good morning and good evening. Good morning and good evening. Good morning and good evening. Good morning and good evening, boys and girls. We are live. This is Xah Talk Show you are watching. And today, there's no schedule. There's this random. This is Xah office hours. So you're just gonna watch me, an old man, drink a little bit. And I'm gonna work on my stuff. Technicality and nerd stuff, very advanced nerd stuff. Okay, so show my window. Let me tell you about this keyboard. This is UHK80. UHK stand for Ultimate Hacking Keyboard 80. Okay, fantastic. So search my YouTube, you'll find my reviews. In fact, I have the world's biggest keyboard blog in a word. Okay, so you just search for XAH keyboard blog. There are 1,000 videos. I mean, there are 1,000 articles about everything possibly you ever wanted to know about keyboard, about mouse, about keyboard layout, about key switch technology, about the keyboard technology itself, and about mouse and trackball, everything. Okay, there's 1,000 articles in it. So again, today I'm just gonna talk random. Okay, I'm just like randomly working on my website and like get 50% drunk, actually 30% drunk. Okay, that is the goal. That is the purpose of this video. So if you are watching here, say hi. This is chat session. If you are watching offline, play at 1.5 speed or 2. Okay, that's my Discord. You are watching. Can you see me? Yes. Video check, audio check, and my Twitter. Oh, in the past few days we've been coding this Wolfram language animation hypotrachoid. It's amazing and beautiful. So yesterday we did a video. In fact, several. Yesterday, the day before. So we did in past week or two, we did a lot Wolfram language coding. Now, if you watched it yesterday, it was like 90 minutes, kind of boring. But the result, but then I worked on it again. So the result is beautiful. So let's, for example, let me show you. A number of frames 80. So this is gonna generate a bunch of this rolling of a circle around another circle. Beautiful. Okay, fantastic. I mean, the key about this thing is not just the graphics, of course, but the key. Why is it beautiful? Well, the geometry, the mathematics is beautiful because this trachoid. Anyway, there's lots of interesting stories. Okay, about the spiral graph. But I mean, but besides that, the beauty is this code. You see, that mathematics and humanity we have to this day. We have this, which is called technology, allows us, which includes typesetting. You see, rationalize numerator, denominator. That's mathematics, and here you also see pi. That's advanced science. That's the deepest mathematics ever. You can get PhD for 20 years studying of pi. Okay, and then the fraction, and so this part and the code, the programming language design. So the whole thing is just amazing. That's what I love. Okay, that's what I do for life. So we improved the code a lot. Now we brought back. So I wrote this originally 30 years ago, and it turns out, I'm quite meticulous when it comes to like function parameters design. So it turns out my design back then 30 years ago is pretty good. So yesterday, I was trying to change some of it, but actually my design yesterday is pretty good. Hello, analytic minded. So any questions you have for me? Where are you from? And age, sex, location. Age, sex, location. That's the most common desired question of human animals. Every human animal, when you see another like starting with the online internet age. Like before internet, you see when you see other human animal, you see it in face, real life, right? Or photograph, right? Photograph is not interactive, but when you interact with another human animal, you interact via in real life. That is before internet. But beginning with internet, starting like 1990s, you started to have this internet. And when you interact with another human animal, you no longer like, it's not face to face. You have this internet. You type, you email, in the beginning it was email. You type messages, then you have instant messages, like, this chat, you can, there's like 20, 30 years of evolution. I can tell you actually in detail the history of internet because I'm old enough to I lived through it. I can so in the beginning the as far as internet communication technology goes, in the beginning you got email, then you got email is kind of like the most essential for the first, okay? But anyway, roughly you got email, then you got instant messaging came around like late 1990s, let's say year 2000, okay? You started to have instant messaging, Yahoo chat. Then before that, you have CompuServe, like online message forums. Before that, you have Usenet, which is like you post messages to online, but it's not internet. Okay, it's not like website. Okay, but anyway, so you post messages to you can exchange messages online, and other people will read it usually after a day or after several hours. Then they will respond. So every day you wake up, you go to the online forum, whatever it was. It's not a website though, but like news group, anyway. But it's basically just like online web, kind of like the essence is the messages. You post a message, you ask maybe questions or something, then after a few hours or usually or tomorrow, people will answer or chat. You can chat, random. So that's like 1990s. Then in year 2000, you started to have instant messaging, that like Yahoo, AOL chat. Hello guys. Yahoo and AOL, and then Apple has its own later. But then so instant messaging, like the YouTube chat box, okay? So you can chat instantaneously with your friends or coworkers. Then you started to have like video, like tiny video screen, instant video, like you can talk to your grandma, but then you need to like, what version do I have? You go to MSN video, it is lots of problems, but still you started to have video chat like in the early year 2000s, okay? Then you start to have, of course, Wikipedia around 2002, Facebook 2003, something there. You started to have this social media, Facebook 2003, 2004, then the Reddit, Hacker News is online, then, okay, and sometimes before that, you started to have online forums, which is like you go to a website where you post messages. For example, there's a hacker keyboard website. What's the name of that hacker keyboard? That's wait, what's the name of that website? Shit, I don't even remember. Gig Hack. Okay, so Gig Hack is one of this website. This format is kind of the online forum, what you call online forum, where you go there, post messages. Messages are categorized by thread. So let's turn on JavaScript. Okay, so anyway, but this website, Gig Hack, is mostly about keyboards, which I've been nerding for like over 15, actually 30 years, since like 1993. Before anyone else, like back in 1990, 1992, I learned about the Dvorak keyboard layout. Most people don't know. Today you guys know, right? But so in 1992, I read it from a book. Then I created. There's no you can't switch to Dvorak keyboard layout. There's no such thing. So I created use the Res Edit on Apple. I told the story before. So there is this Res Edit thing, which is a well, no, not those. You're fucking idiots. Res Edit Apple, Mac. See, yeah, it looks like that. Okay, so this is 1992. There's an application called Res Edit. You can use it to create small applications on the Mac. So I used it to create the Dvorak keyboard layout. So I started to learn Dvorak keyboard layout in 1994. So by 1994, end of it, I'm a master Dvorak layout typist. So I've been obsessed with keyboard because why? Because it's just far more efficient. Okay, let me finish the drink and get some more. So we were talking. So yeah, we were talking about the internet history. So I was trying to give you a quick overview of internet history. So 1990. So email first, then instant messaging. Well, email first, then user group, usernet, which is posting messages, and CompuServe, similar. Basically, you call them online forums. That's a purpose. Okay. Then in 2000, you started to have instant messaging. Then year 2002, Wikipedia, social, Facebook began 2003, and you also started to have a lot of online forums, which is just messages. And then sometimes before that, you started to have so-called mailing list. Mailing list is like online forum, just you go to a website, post specific topic, but it's like in email via the email format. So every day you compose an email, send it to a specific address. Let's say talking about keyboards, or talking about computers, or talking about programming language, or talking about playing piano, or talking about sex. Where can I find local sex club? There are things like that. BDSM, there's all kind of things. Okay, so this mailing list, so you send an email and you'll get reply, so you can see all the people's posts, but all via email. So every day you got a bunch of emails. So that's called mailing list. For example, Python mailing list still exists. Python mailing list. Okay, I'm not sure you guys Zoomers still know what that is about. So for example, Python mailing list, you go there, so you can see mailing list, Python mailing list, and good news group. Fuck Python, fuck this Python fuckheads. Of course, I'm famous for I had a lot of fights with these people, especially some of these admins, they are the priests. They sit on this mailing list, they ban people, they control what you can say, what you cannot say, things like that. And of course, I've been banned in many places. So you have mailing list is part of internet technology. Then let's say around 2007, 2008, you started to have iPhone, Apple. That's a tremendous innovation. That's a change of humanity by Steve Jobs. Okay. That's incredible. That's communication technology that basically changed everything, because from that day on, you begin, not that day, but you begin to have the idea that every person carries in their pocket a small computer that can take photos, that can record videos, that can talk to anyone in the world in video, in voice. Okay, that's Steve Jobs. Incredible guy. Now, Steve Jobs passed away in 2010 or so, and then the web the Apple becomes shit. Okay, Apple become a scum. Apple become idiotic and scum too. Okay. Anyway, so So I have like 10,000 articles on my website because, I've been blogging for like 30 years. So, these stories I've been told quite a few times. Steve Jobs, the death of Steve Jobs, and story with Donald Knuth. I told this story a few times, okay? So this article is Death of Steve Jobs versus Denise Ritchie, a fuckhead of the Unix fuckheads, and with the Unix fuckheads people. I despise them, okay? It's a story, okay? It's like a story around year 2010. 2011. And then this is the day Steve Jobs died. I made a record, a history, account of history. So this is when Steve Jobs died on that day, Apple made a record of it on their website. So I made a screenshot. Okay. Then Google also did. Steve Jobs actually is one of the person. There are a few people, like 3 or 5, I have admired and studied quite a lot. Okay. Steve Jobs is one of them. I very much admire this guy. And one of the other guys, Stephen Wolfram, actually, and and also Bertrand Russell. Okay, I think I'm gonna get some drink. So I've been so there's a lot to talk to, I can start to talk nonstop for a few hours. Then there's Richard Stallman, whose comment on Steve Jobs' death. He says, "I'm glad he's dead." Something like that. Steve, I'm not glad he's dead, but I'm glad he's gone. Richard Stallman. And ever since he made this comment, a lot of people got pissed. The white people, typically, the white people, they are fan of Richard Stallman Free Software Foundation. They are donating members. Then they started to claim, I stopped being a member of Free Software Foundation because they saw, they got pissed by this Richard Stallman's remark. Okay. Anyway, that's humanity. Okay. Lots of drama, Then for some good, some bad. Then this is Steve Jobs 3 months before he died. We don't know he's going to die, but Steve Jobs, that's when he's building the circular UFO building for Apple. Here is some photos I took in 2001 when Steve Jobs started to have the crazy idea, he's gonna start brick and mortar stores. 2001. 2001. That's the beginning of internet. Amazon, eBay are thriving, and Google. And the idea is that brick and mortar stores, so-called, is all gonna die. They're gonna disappear. It's like all gonna be gone because internet is the future. Internet is gonna taking over, which actually is true to some degree though. But so anyway, that was the thought. But then Steve Jobs come along. He says, no, I'm going to start Apple Store, brick and mortar store, all over. So that's when Apple Store began in 2001. So I went with my friend, Brian Nakamoto. He's a fan of Apple too. So we went to the first store in Palo Alto, and we took photo, and Steve Jobs is there. Some of the photos are by my friend. Some of the photos are by me. Anyway, that's 2001 Steve Jobs. Okay, this is Palo Alto. Palo Alto is a rich city near where I am. I'm in Mountain View. I'm where Google is at. Okay, I'm where Googleplex is at. So Palo Alto is where Stanford University is at. Palo Alto is basically rich man's city. Like you gotta be pretty rich, like usually people pretty rich lives there. Okay, let me finish this and get some more. And let me read the comments. Okay. Actually, there's a comment quite early. Yeah. So I don't have time to even drink. Fuck, I need to finish my drink. Analytic Minded says, have you ever considered writing in Markdown and compiling to HTML instead of coding HTML directly? Of course, I have considered that, but such idea quickly is thrown out. Okay, because with, I mean, not it, but personally for me, I've been coding HTML since HTML was born. HTML was born in like 1991. I coded manually, character by character in Microsoft Word. So I know every aspect, like every detail. Like before JavaScript was born, before CSS was born, I watched their birth. Just like you guys are watching the birth of AI, there is a ChatGPT happened, what they do, who created it, what's going on, like when you watch the birth of some technology in your life, like the day one, since the day one, then you know everything about it. So I watched the birth of HTML and internet, and then JavaScript and CSS, right? So I know I know every character. Then the okay. So you are talking about Markdown. Markdown is so called. The Markdown is by the scum, by a kind of like, not exactly a scum, but it's like an asshole. Okay, the proper word for that guy is asshole. The creator of Markdown. Markdown is one of the markup. Like people are crazy. Everyone is trying to create everyone is trying to create a lightweight markup language other than HTML, because HTML, it's like too much to type and unreadable. Like bracket, less than equal sign, bracket p, then bracket, then slash, less than equals, too much for most. So lots of people are creating their own version of like lightweight markup in competition. For example, there's BB code. Okay, there's quite a lot. BB code. You guys probably don't know BB code, but you forgot. But at one time, it was the most popular markup for the web. Okay, BB code, and I actually have an Emacs list package for it. Anyway, this is like tons. Okay, because you create this lightweight markup, you become famous because that in history, my name is in history because I created that. Because everyone is using it. Like the Markdown guy, the fuckface, the Markdown. His name is what's his name? He's a asshole. Okay. Let me tell you the story. Daring Fireball, my ass. He's a guy in the era of blogging. So the era of blogging is around, maybe 2006 to, let's say, 2008 to 2015, something like that. It died when Google killed the Google Reader. Okay, so there's a lot of history. You guys may or may not know. So I don't know how old are you. So blogging lasted for like 10 years. Blogging, like you need to blog. Blog is the future. Every person should blog. So during the blog era, he's very famous. This Daring Fireball asshole. He's this guy, this character is an asshole, like me, kind of like me, because we we don't kiss ass. We don't ask, we are not polite. We don't kiss ass other people. We say what we want. Or today, you guys will say, based. Idiots. Based. The Zoomer will say based. Okay. So anyway, this guy, so what's his name? Markdown. So John Gruber. He's one of the very popular during the blogging era. Very one of the most famous blogger. Okay. Actually, I never know, I don't read him much. So he looks like that. So anyway, he's a kind of asshole. Okay. Among there's quite a few. There's also Dave Weiner, Dave Weiner, which I despise. This guy, John Gruber, I don't have problem with him. I don't have much. I don't know. Actually don't know him much. Worked for bare bones software. Oh, okay, interesting. Cheers. Oh, in 2004, Aaron Schwartz and Gruber worked together to create the Markdown language. Aaron Schwartz is another huge asshole. If you guys don't know, okay, let me tell you guys. Aaron Schwartz, the guy, he got killed by Deep State. Very complex story, okay? He got killed by Deep State. What is a Deep State? Deep State today is doing lots of things around certain area. Let's not talk. Well, it's getting very complicated. Let me tell you, okay? So Deep State is doing war, of course. What does it mean? Oh shit. Mountain View, okay, that's where I live. Okay, so let's go to why does it it's Google, okay, where I live. So there's a computer museum right there. That's very close to where I live. And Google is right here, Google. Okay, but anyway, we wanted to go to oh yeah, so we want to go show the Earth more. Globe view, okay, and satellite. So you show the Earth. Then what is Deep State? Well, Deep State is doing something in this region today. So that's Japan, that's Korea, that's China, that's then you got India, big India here. Then you got these places, they got oil. You see these yellow colored places, they got oil. They pretty rich, okay. And the Deep State is doing things there, okay, in this region for the past like 20 years. That's what Deep State is, okay. So Aaron Schwartz, he got killed by Deep State because apparently he's like talking to WikiLeaks something, okay. Then anyway, Aaron Schwartz is an asshole. The personality he's known as asshole, and John Gruber is also asshole because then there is another guy who the creator of the Stack Overflow. They were trying to standardize the Markdown, and John Gruber refused. He's saying no, we don't need any standardization. Markdown is just Markdown. Let it be. Let all flowers bloom. I don't want no fucking standardization. And you don't use my name, Markdown, for it, okay? You can go fuck yourself and standardize, call it whatever you want, but don't call it Markdown. Because I, John Gruber, created Markdown, and I don't want it standardized. That's this fuckface. That's why he's an asshole. Create a big controversy. Anyway, so Aaron Schwartz, okay, so I don't know him anyway. I don't know him much. So Aaron Schwartz is also asshole, and he's like doing things. Anyway, so Markdown, Markdown is like like so simple, So of course I got a tutorial for Markdown. Let's see. Donald Knuth, Steve Jobs, and the idiocy of typography. Okay, Steve Jobs. So did we finish talking about Steve Jobs? So let's go to okay, let's go to Xah keyboard. What are we gonna talk about today? Yeah, we were talking about Markdown. Yeah, okay, so Markdown. Oh, so I have an article. Fuck Markdown. So there is a Markdown tutorial, and there is my Emacs Markdown to HTML. So that's Emacs Lisp code that turns Markdown to HTML. We did several live stream about it. So we talked about Markdown for several hours last year. Okay, 3 months ago, 2 months, 3 months ago. Okay, December, episode 705, 715, and 716. We were talking about, we were creating Markdown to HTML and HTML to Markdown. Okay, all kind of technicalities about that. Because you want it to be efficient, you want to be robust, but you also want it to be like, is there a standard Markdown? It turns out, well, no. Because, well, part of the reason is the guy, John Gruber, refused to allow a standardized one, because he's got opinions. So anyway, John Gruber is one of the star of the blogging era, which died. Then we were talking about the deep state. Right? They are doing killings. Okay, that's basically killings. You don't know, you don't care because it doesn't affect you. You see, because most of you are American like me. We have comfy life. So someone else dies, that's their problem. That's a situation, okay? Now let me get some more drink. 7 concurrent viewers, okay? So for those of you guys are watching, say hi. Don't be shy. You should say hi. One of the problem with today's Zoomers is that everyone is afraid. Everyone is a non-fox, known as a non-coward, because you guys don't dare to have a face. You guys don't dare, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna, cower in my little corner and I'm gonna create accounts and say things and, do whatever and do Bitcoin and do crypto. But I'm not gonna say anything about, something. But, well, I'm gonna do Pepe, but I'm gonna be anon. I'm gonna post Pepe stuff and, I'm gonna talk, but, that's you guys are, all these coward fucks. That creates the collapse of society. Okay, that's you Zoomer idiots. Okay, let me get my drink. Okay, so the question, have you ever considered writing in Markdown and compiling to HTML? Okay, I guess I already answered that question because in the process I mentioned about, where is it? In the process I mentioned, I actually did 3 live streams about Markdown, so you can watch that. So I grew up with HTML. In Emacs, I have so many commands, of my own device that I can, to create the same web page. If someone is using Markdown or org mode, they generate, then, they can convert to HTML. Then they publish as like the static website using the Heido or whatever, that's Oxo, Heido Oxo. I always forgot the name. What's the name for generating static website? What's the popular software? They are a handful. Heiko or something, Jacko or something. Like people were telling me every day, like 5 years ago, Xah, have you used the Hugo yet? Have you, what do you think about Hugo? Like people were telling me every day. Hugo, yeah, and the Jacko, those are white man things. Okay, there's a story about them, Jacko and Hugo, but I always forgot. So people were telling me, so a lot of people, younger people, you can do that, no problem. I don't have a problem with that. So you can write a blog if you want to, or your notes in org mode, or you can write in Markdown. Markdown is becoming very popular, because Microsoft, for example, Microsoft.net, that's a huge coding project. It's all open source. And every documentation by Microsoft today is in Markdown. Okay. I learned that about 2 years ago because, when I was doing research. So you might watch my live streams about Markdown. So Microsoft.net, and I think every other Microsoft documentation, like the entire Microsoft technology documentation, is in Markdown. Okay. And their doc has become very good in the past 5 years also, become very good. For example, PowerShell, F#, for example, I've been learning, doing PowerShell, and I've been doing PowerShell like for by now 10 years. I've been learning F# too. So anyway, so for you guys, you can write in Markdown or you can write in org mode, which is very popular for Emacs users. Okay. And then you can convert it to HTML. Then you can post to the website using one of these Jacko, Hugo, whatever shit. I don't give a shit about them. Jacko or Hugo, they generate static websites. Okay. You can do that. But here's my claim. Me working in Emacs with Xah HTML mode, with Xah HTML mode, my mode for HTML and all my bunch of my things, all these Xah packages, I can code exactly the same thing as your website, but less keystrokes. Okay, less number of keystrokes when I do raw HTML and raw JavaScript and raw CSS, exactly the same thing you do, but I type less keystrokes and I have more flexibility, even if we created exactly the same thing. Okay. The entire, for example, my CSS is entire manually crafted because because I watched their birth. The CSS, in the beginning, like, should we have a styling sheet, versus the controversy? Should you have like CSS style versus like embedded font tag? Which one is better? Big debate and drama, and then this or that. Okay, so I code the same thing in my HTML and my customized HTML, Emacs Lisp code, whatever, and Xah keys, of course. Not to forget Xah keys, the most efficient possible key binding system in the universe. Not just on Earth, but in the universe, okay? Then Vim or Neo Vim or whatever shit. Most, measured by science, not by, I feel. By the way, guys, I feel my Xah keys is faster than Vim. No, by science, meaning you measure keystrokes, you do massive, like 1,000, test cases. And Xah keys is gonna be less number of keystrokes. Counting, you measure control, super odd, you have to count them. Like, how do you score them? Okay, that is my claim. Okay, so I'm right now 20% drunk. Okay, not too much, but let's have more. So maybe I think I answered that question. Have you ever considered writing in Markdown and compiling to HTML? Yeah, I considered it. But That's not my, I wouldn't do that because each person is different. For my past experiences, doing that, it would be worse, you know. But for you guys, it depends. Okay. So for you guys, you might, it's a good option. Of course, you can also do like me, start from scratch, just write your own HTML mode or whatever, manually do HTML, but may not be better because first of all, you really have to, if you want to do, the thing like the way I do, of course, you can buy my packages, actually you can do that. You go to my website, Xah Emacs, for example, Emacs, I have like close to 1,000 pages about Emacs. Xah Emacs packages, you can actually pay me and get all of them, like for $100 or something. But but even if you do that, you are not gonna be like me because what you need is because I know I have the knowledge about. You see, I have deep knowledge about HTML, about CSS, about JavaScript. JavaScript, you may not care if you don't care for your website to be an app, but you really need to know HTML and CSS well. Okay, very well, like master, which is not difficult. It takes you a month. It takes HTML is easy to learn, CSS is easy to learn. You can learn both of them in a week. Okay, but the key is like if you really like master, especially about CSS, the nuances, then it's a matter of like 1 year or 2 year or more. It never ends because it's still changing. But anyway, my point is that you can be expert of HTML and CSS, and it's not too difficult. Okay, few months, half a year, let's say. Don't worry about, you might think, oh, half a year is long time. Not really. You're gonna you're gonna have 5 years more, 10 years in your life to do coding. So is coding your career? So you're gonna have, don't worry about 5 months. So you can master HTML, C and CSS. Okay, so if you wanna do the way I do things, you have to be like kind of expert at HTML and CSS, like the way they work and things like that. You have very good idea how they work. Okay, you can be, what you cannot be is like the Zoomer idiots. Like today, the Zoomer idiots, they don't even know how exactly CSS works. They just, if you want to do this, download, npm this, type this npm, you kind of this, these things. Okay, like today's Zoomer generation idiots, they don't know how things work. So again, if you want to do like me, everything from scratch, you kind of have to have good knowledge of HTML and CSS. I remember mailing lists. Boy, how they clogged up the inbox. Yeah. You hate Linux, Vim, and Python, and all the things like I like. What? You hate Linux, Vim, Python, all things I like. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's like one perspective. Okay, that's kind of just one view. But in fact, I may like a lot of things you like. But actually, you see, Linux, Vim, Python, they are all technology, first of all. So in other words, what interpretation of what you said is that we are already very much alike. You see, this you fuck it. Like you are now fuck it. whatever your name means. You see, you hate you say you hate Linux, Vim, and Python, all things I like. That's kind of true. That's true. Do I hate Linux? Yes, very much. Do I hate Vim? Well, yes, because Vim is the Unix crime, one of the Unix crime, VI. Okay, then people created Vim and Neo Vim, but it's VI is idiot, brainless Unix fuck. Okay, and the Python, the Guido von Rossum, one of the most worst language is Python. Okay, in my opinion, even I think PHP is better language. Anyway, they are bad in different ways, but Python, you got this leader, this priest, Guido von Rossum, the creator of Python. He is I would say an idiot and not a good person. He's promoting the social justice warriors, during the SJW era. Okay, he's like, oh, I'm not gonna teach male. From now on, I'm just gonna teach women because I think women are something. Guido von Rossum, fuckheads. That's his social deeds, but also his language is just shit. Like shit in almost every way. Python. Okay. Now you like Python. Well, so first of all, you like these, you hate these, I hate these things, but you like them. So it seems like we are very different. But actually, another interpretation, we are very much alike, actually, already. We are like both extreme nerds, okay? And also, you see, anyway, so, I'm just rambling random. Okay, I think maybe I should go in. I mean, I think how long has this been going on? 1 hour. So maybe it's time to stop. Let me finish my drink. Okay, Steve Jobs was a great visionary, but was a terrible colleague, I heard. He's an asshole. So see, just, a lot of great men are asshole. Not necessarily every great man must be asshole, but a lot of them are. Okay, so Steve Jobs is an asshole. What does it mean exactly? Meaning that he, if you work with him, some people, including John Gruber and quite a few, okay, asshole, and including the guy who created the Ruby on Rails, quite a lot of them. They are cocks. They are cocky. And almost always they are males. Females are not like that. Women are different thing. Okay, women don't. They are not cocks. That's why women, colloquially, in English, we say girls are chicks. The guys are dude or cocks. Okay. So anyway, a lot of great men are just assholes. Okay. So Steve Jobs is one of the assholes, because, you work with him, he's gonna, he doesn't respect you or something bad, some things like that. Okay. Or they scored their underlings, they scored their whatever. Analytic minded says, I'm from the mid 1980s, so fortunately not a Zoomer. Oh, so you are like, you are even older generation than me, possibly. I see. You see, I cannot tell, it's like these days, like YouTube, everybody is announced. So even you guys, like some of you analytic minded, you've been on my channel, you've been commenting in the past. I don't know who you are. Like I have like like I can't like remember like what exactly you said in the past. And also there's a lot others, right? So that's one of the issue with the live stream, exacerbated by the anon. Because you see, if you guys, I'm not saying you must, okay, but let's suppose If you guys your name is like Frank Joe or something like a real life name, and you come with a face, then do I like, even though I still have a lot of comments, from random people, but I'm more likely the likelihood that I take you seriously and know who you are and we establish friendship is much higher, much higher. Okay, so but given the situation, which is partly due to the deep state, so everyone is like anon, Fox, like I don't know who you guys are. That's that's really anon is a really nasty problem, and that's the you see they designed it this way. They want these deep state people. They want America. They want it that way. That's by design. But the Zoomer idiots, they don't they don't know. They thought they are they thought they are being like rebels. Look, you see I'm doing great because the deep state gonna try to fuck me, but I'm a non. They don't know who I am. So I'm doing so great. I watch the black POs, and I watch Xah talk show. I know what's going on. But these are the idiots, you see. The deep state love you to be in this state. That's what the deep state want. The Zoomer generation, I truly despise. Okay, the Zoomer fucks. Hello, GCS. Okay, so 1980s. Yeah, so you see, I didn't start programming even until like 1993. So I'm kind of late. By 1993, I'm already 20, like 21. Um, Not everyone lives in a free speech country. That's okay. That's valid, but that's a different, that's different story. Okay. So user says, Yo, Xan, I think you could get big as a live streamer. You just gotta advertise better, do some short highlights, better title, better thumbnails. You could make good money. Yeah, I heard of that. But in order to do that, for me, it's just not happening. Because first of all, I really despise. You see, when I see this YouTube with the fucking thumbnails, like something crazy or the clickbaits, I despise them. I don't want to do that. So that put me in arts with making money, because that's what deep state wants. Okay. Then the other thing is that I'm an asshole, just like many of the other people I talked about. So if you want to make money, you don't want to be asshole. You want to be polite. You want to say, "Oh, thank you. That's a great idea." You want to make people. That's because that's fundamental human communication. People perceive you to be, if you like them, you like their ideas, then they say, "Oh, this is a great guy. I'm gonna, help him. I'm gonna spread his videos because I like him." That's some of the ways to. That's how you go. That's how That's the behavior of politicians. You can see. Can you see? All the politicians, they are very nice. You see, they are moral people. They always do good things. They want help women, children, humanity. All these politicians. That's what they do. You see, so if you want money, you kind of have to go that way. Okay, you have to do certain, it's kind of like that. But anyway, Okay, I think that's it for today. Gonna vectorize that site and rack it up. A nice mushroom shirt. Thank you. This is a conversation starter. Zoomer idiots. That's my real face, by the way. Lord, oh, that what? I thought that's an anime face. Analytic minded. You see, another thing YouTube did is that today you cannot like click on. I believe it used to be that you can click on this comment and go to their website. Okay, you can still do so. Right click. That's your face? No, that's a cartoon. Analytic minded. That's your. It may be based on your real face, but it doesn't serve the purpose of what we were talking about real face. What you need is not a cartoon representation of your face. In our context, in the context I'm talking about, what you need is a mugshot. Like when you go to the police station, they take a shot, real life mugshot. That's a real human animal, real humanity. That's what matters. The real thing, not the phony, fake makeup, things, like a cartoon character. But the internet loves a strong asshole personality. I despise them. Do you still enjoy Second Life? No, I haven't been in Second Life for like over 10 years. I should go back, but I don't have time. But anyway, I think that's it. Analytic minded. You need a mugshot. That's right. Okay, bye guys. Okay, donate to me, okay? If you guys, you got a job, you gotta donate to me. Go to xahlee.info, xahlee.info. Okay, I think that's it. I'm gonna go have good dinner and hope everything's well with you guys. And that's it. Fantastic Wolfram language and coding. And I still need to fix my website because in the past 20 days, a month, I wasn't able to update my website because there's an rsync problem. So all these updates, so my website has not been updated for 30 days or 20 days. So I really need to do that. Okay. But that's it. Bye. Bye, guys.